Hi, I'm Andrew Rodriguez, and welcome to PsychoBible, babbling about psychology and theology. Well, in case you haven't noticed, I'm a big comic book fan. And also, my wife and I love going to the movies, but for the past year, pretty much the movies have been shut down where we live, and we haven't been able to go to the theater. And the local theater finally opened up, and so today we went and saw Wonder Woman 1984. So once again, I'm pushing back the video I wanted to originally record this weekend because this movie actually gave me a lot of thoughts. So here are my reflections, not so much a review of the film, but some reflections based on it. So prepare for spoilers if you haven't already seen it. If you have, then enjoy the show. Like I was saying, it's been nearly a year since we've been inside a movie theater, and it's just how fitting that this movie came out at this time. I had heard mixed reviews or reactions, but I gotta say, I loved the movie. In fact, it really touched me in a few parts, especially as it reached the climax. There were some really poignant emotional moments, and the overall message of the movie really hit me. So let me just give the synopsis here. So the first Wonder Woman movie takes place during World War One. Well, after that time, she stays among the world of men, and she pretty much lives a lonely life as an anthropologist, a researcher. She's curating artifacts for the Smithsonian. She apparently at one point she got a ranch, the Trevor Ranch, but now she's living near Washington or in Washington D.C. and she's working in the Smithsonian Institute. And then we meet Barbara Minerva, a new fellow researcher at the Smithsonian, played by Kristen Wiig. Now, when I heard Kristen Wiig was cast as Cheetah, one of Wonder Woman's longtime villains, I was really skeptical. I'm like, oh gosh, they're gonna ruin this. And she does come off really cheesy at first, but she goes through a transformation of sorts. Her personality does, and then she actually is in really good shape, and she does some really good. She plays the villain pretty well. So good job. They did actually. They convinced me. I was very skeptical at first. So yeah, she's awkward and a social reject, but they form a friendship. Now earlier, Diana had busted a heist at the mall by some crooks who were trying to rob a black market artifacts operation at the mall. And the FBI requested their help identifying the artifacts, one of which is a stone that grants wishes, as long as you're holding it. Now enter Maxwell Lord, a secretly struggling oil tycoon. He's got his face on all these TV commercials, and he swoons Barbara so he could get the stone to save his business. He knows that this is a stone that grants wishes. And so he wants to save his business and prove himself to his business partners and to his son, and he sort of gets addicted to the power that it gives him, and he wants to become the most powerful man alive. Now he wishes to become the stone itself, so the stone dissolves, it absorbs into him, and so now if anyone touches him and makes a wish, he can grant it. And so he uses that to grant people's wishes, at which he tricks people into wishing for things that either benefit him or it'll be something that benefits them, but he will gain something in exchange for granting their wish. Now, before he gets a hold of the stone, both Diana and Barbara had wished for something while they were holding the stone. And Diana had wished to be reunited with Steve Trevor, her first love, who died at the end of the first Wonder Woman movie. And that explained why Chris Pine is in the movie, because when I first saw him in the movie, I was like, what are they doing? Is this going to be a retread? But no, it actually makes sense that he comes back. In fact, he's sort of it's like his spirit inhabits the body of some other random guy. So it's not like he physically came back, but she can tell it's him. And so it's kind of weird. And Barbara wishes, because she was really taken with Diana and wants to be like her, so she wishes to be like Diana, which means she gains her strength, speed, and her social grace. But for each wish, they lose something. Diana is losing her powers as the movie goes on, and Barbara loses her fun-loving charm, her goofiness that makes her likable. So the wishes come with a price. And in Diana's research of the stone, she learns that it has appeared throughout history and all in civilizations that ended shortly after its appearance. The stone brought chaos as everyone's wishes conflicted with each other's. And so the societies destroyed themselves. The only solution is for everyone to renounce their wishes or destroy the stone. And in this case, the stone is now Maxwell Lord himself. Diana refuses to renounce her wish because she would lose Steve, the one person she's wanted for decades. We see that she's sacrificed so much and she's been lonely, and now she finally can have someone in her life, the man she loved, and she's not going to give up on him now. Or she's not going to give him up now. And this is why previous civilizations with the stones were destroyed. Human greed. We all want our dreams fulfilled, even at the cost of the fabric of society. There's a very timely and poignant message in this film. When Diana realizes that the gods empowered the stone, she comments that they need to figure out which god enchanted it, because all such objects are powered by a particular principle. For example, her lasso is empowered by truth. So truth is the principle that empowers her lasso. And she learns that the stone was enchanted by some sort of trickster god, a god of lies. Therefore, it is an item of lies. It's falsehood that empowers the stone. So the wishes that people are making enables them to live a lie. The turning point in the film is when Wonder Woman realizes she needs to accept the reality that the love of her life is dead. She gets her power back when she renounces her wish. And this was the part that got me. Like she's running away. She says goodbye to him. He's like, "You don't need to say goodbye. I'm already dead." And you just see her tearing up. And she's running off, and she renounces her wish. She accepts reality, and then she can defeat the threat to the rest of the world. The film is making this point. Living in the truth is more important than any other fulfillment of our desires. Whether it's a desire for love, safety, power, belonging, wealth, comfort, ease, fun, pleasure, whatever. And that's how she defeats Maxwell Lord. By showing him the truth. By broadcasting the truth to the whole world. And each individual has to renounce the lies that they have been living in. It's so fascinating to me that this film is released at this time in history. And that Patty Jenkins, the director, chose to name it Wonder Woman 1984. She could have named it 83, 86, 87, like any other year, even in the 90s. It wouldn't have to change too much if it was like Wonder Woman 1990. And it would have fit just fine. And yet she chose 1984. 1984 by George Orwell, one of my favorite books. And what meme are we seeing these days? With the rise of a Marxist revolution and a soft totalitarianism starting? Make Orwell fiction again. 1984 was a warning, not an instruction manual. Let me read a little part of the back cover of my copy of 1984. The world of 1984 is one in which eternal warfare is the price of bleak prosperity, in which the party keeps itself in power by complete control over man's actions and his thoughts. In the comics, Maxwell Lord is an amoral businessman who funds the Justice League. In the Invasion crossovers, like in 1988, he unlocks the metahuman ability to control minds. Just great, a con artist with the ability to control people. Of course, whenever he does this, he gets a nosebleed, and the film sort of pays an homage to this by him getting nosebleeds, ear bleeds, his eye starts bleeding in a way whenever he was using his power. He grows so increasingly corrupt with power to the point that in the 2005 Countdown to Infinite Crisis story, he becomes the head of an intelligence agency, and he gains access to the Brother Eye satellite. Isn't that Orwellian? Which can be used to spy on everyone. And he infects masses of people with a nanovirus that turns them into cyborg drones bent on killing all the superheroes. He turns them into the OMACs, one-man army corps, because he came to the conclusion that superheroes, which remember, superheroes are meant to be these embodiments of virtue, well, he's determined that these superheroes are menaces to society, that they do more harm than good to the culture, to the status quo. And so they need to be eliminated. And it gets to the point that he mind controls Superman and uses him to cause destruction to try to make his point. And so in order to stop him, Wonder Woman actually snaps Max's neck in the comics. And what are we seeing these days? The authorities exerting more and more power over the world. With so-called fact-checking and censorship, with masks and mindless media to keep us docile, we are essentially being mind-controlled. We get distracted by the silliest things in movies and in music and whatever thing is trending on social media. And it's like it's the dumbing of the masses to keep us from focusing on the things that really matter. And in order to prosper, to be safe, whether from a virus, from hate speech and bullying, from discomfort of any kind, we have chosen to accept lies. We become passive participants in a totalitarian system. Parallel to the comics, the masses have become drones of the state, with a relentless mission to cancel out the dissidents. Speaking the truth has now become a dangerous act. But speaking the truth also makes you a superhero, or a superheroine. If you speak the truth, you will certainly be hunted. But like Alexander Solzhenitsyn learned in the Soviet Union, and tells us in the Gulag Archipelago, the world you create by speaking the truth, though it may be harsh and painful, will ultimately be the best world. The reality you create by speaking the truth will at least be reality, will be the truth. But when you speak falsehoods, you create a false reality, an illusion. What we most need to survive the times ahead is integrity, a radical dedication to truth, and being the same person in any environment, that you are genuine, truly authentic. We need that integrity, that wholeness. But this is not just a message for our precarious times that we're currently in. This is a universal truth. It's a truth about humanity. So one thing I always tell my clients is, my job is to help you live in reality. It is typically denial of reality that causes our torment. When we avoid facing our fears, when we refuse to grieve a loss, when we don't communicate our needs and desires because we assume people in our lives ought to just mind read and know what they are and meet our needs without us saying anything. When we believe, no, I should be able to do this, I should be able to, when we simply aren't able. We're denying reality, and it causes us more and more strife. Yes, living in truth, in reality, may mean self-sacrifice. It may mean sacrificing an illusion. It may mean giving up that pleasure that's been holding you back from maturing. It may mean sacrificing that addiction. It most likely will mean years of hard work in order to improve your reality. So maybe you'll face reality and be like, oh man, my situation is pretty terrible. Well, guess what? You can do something about that. It's going to take a lot of work and sacrifice and toil. But you will be powerless until you speak the truth and choose to accept reality for what it is. Only then can you take on the challenge of healing and redeeming reality, of changing the situations in your life. Jesus said, if you obey my teachings, you will know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Free from the sins that so easily entangle us and keep us from winning the race before us. So, yeah, that's maybe I got a lot out of that movie. This is just my brief reaction. I just saw it. It really impacted me, and I just thought how fascinating that I'm seeing this movie right now at this time. So I wanted to get these thoughts out there ASAP. If you've seen it, please let me know what you think. I know my brother hated it. He was disappointed with it. I don't know if it just maybe wasn't as exciting to him. But with everything that's going on right now and my background in comics, knowing different connections, it just, there's a lot that leapt out to me. So join me in the comments. Please like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time.